What's up, everybody? My name is Luna with Press Star Culture, and we are going to pick up where we left off, continuing BioShock the Collection. This is going to be about BioShock 2, and let's dive in. So we open up on New Year's Eve in 1958 in the city of Rapture. So this is 2 years before BioShock 1. You play as Subject Delta, who patrols Rapture with a little sister named Eleanor. And the game starts off with giving you a little bit of backstory on who Delta is and his connection with the little sister.
You want some, big guy? Bigger than hard, harder than
You are prompted by a woman named Sophia Lamb, who is the real mother of Eleanor.
Understand? Her name is Eleanor, and she is mine. Now, kneel, please. Remove your helmet. Now, take the pistol. Place it against your head.
She uses mind control, blasts it on you, and tells you to shoot yourself in front of Eleanor.
Fire.
Ten years later, you wake up, revived by the Little Sisters, who are now under Eleanor's control. And basically the game starts. You make your way to Lamb's Stronghold, trying to help Eleanor out and getting away from this place. Now, this game, just like in BioShock 1, the ending will depend on how you interact with Little Sisters and the fates of certain NPCs in the game.
Big sister doesn't want you playing with me.
Alright, so we're going to talk about my likes in this game. Of course, as always, I liked the story. They did very well with the story, just like in BioShock 1. There wasn't as much of a twist as they did in BioShock 1. There wasn't that shock factor, but they still did really, really good. It kept me invested the entire time. I was going around trying to pick up all of the cassettes that you could play to figure out, the bits and pieces of the story. It was done and executed very well. Alright, so just like in BioShock 1, I had spoke about a lot of things that I disliked, and I would like to start off by saying that I think everything that was wrong or not well done in BioShock 1, they fixed in BioShock 2. The hacking improved greatly. Now, instead of that clunky tile by tile get from point A to point B and that whole mess, they did this, it's a mini game that you have to hit the highlighted spots in the mini game with the needle. I liked that it was a lot smoother. Now, granted, I still had some issues, but it felt smoother. It was quicker. It didn't feel like a whole thing that I had to go into and to change it. It kept the speed of the game going. I liked how it kept you interactive, and I like how it kept you attentive to what was going on, and it didn't seem like it was a whole different thing to get into. And basically every time I tried to hack this time, I tried it. Whether I died, whether I completed it fast, if it caused more enemies to come because the alarm's going off, it didn't matter. This hacking was much better. Switching between the guns and powers. This time they had it separate. So your gun button, for PlayStation 4, your gun button was R2 when you went to shoot it. And to switch in the quick menu, you had to hit R1. And the same on the other side for, on your left hand, you had your powers. And to execute the power would be L2. And to switch between in the quick menu would be L1. I thought that was still a lot going on, but that organized it a lot better. So it was easier to switch back and forth while there was combat. I also felt like there were a lot more options when it came to switching and activating the powers. I felt like it was smoother. It felt easier, and it didn't feel so chaotic like it did in BioShock 1. Ammo seemed to be more. Seemed like I wasn't constantly running out of it. In BioShock 1, I was always out of money and ammo, and in this one it seemed like I had both. A little bit more than I did in 1. Even if I ran out of ammo, I always had extra money that I could use and spend in the machines, and of course hacking the machines to get a cheaper price on the ammo was a lot easier, so it went together. Everything came together, and it made such an easier experience playing this game.
Ending the lockdown will release all the prisoners, Father. Be ready before you use that key on the override switch.
One thing I would like to say that I disliked about the game, the directional marker. I didn't feel like they spent enough time on figuring out what to do with the directional marker. Of course, you didn't have a little mini map on the top of your screen. You had it still in your big menu. You had the directional pointer above you that was constantly pointing you in the direction. If you were in a place that had several levels, it still became confusing on which level you should be on. Of course, I did make it through, so it wasn't that bad. How squishy the character was. I remember in BioShock 1, the Big Daddies were extremely hard to kill. And I felt like they made this character a lot more squishy. So when I was going up against the smaller, harder, the less difficult enemies, just the regular enemies, not the little, the big sisters or the other Big Daddies. I'm talking about just regular enemies. Felt like they kind of had an upper hand at sometimes. Like I couldn't take as many hits as I remember being able to whenever I would go up against a Big Daddy in BioShock 1.
Father, the ballast water is gone. Release the docking mechanism.
Now, let's talk about the enemies that they had. They did change up a little bit on the enemies in BioShock 2. Now you have the Big Sisters that are not squishy by any means and very difficult to kill. And the other Big Daddies, and there's another level to Big Daddies. They introduced it fairly well, and it made sense. Of course, this is 8 years after BioShock 1. Yes, things kept going afterwards, so of course there's not going to be the same enemies. So they did well with introducing those enemies. Overall, they did really well with this game. They cleaned up a lot of the things that I thought were lacking in BioShock 1, and they improved on it in BioShock 2. The story itself was pretty good. There wasn't a huge twist like there was in BioShock 1, but still, it was its own story. It had its own endings, set of endings, and they did really well with it. So I don't really have any complaints on this game at all. The gameplay was very well done. It's just, I just liked how they improved overall on the game itself, and plus made a whole nother story. So I have no complaints on this game, to be honest with you. Directional Point could use a little help, but other than that, it's a well executed game. I definitely recommend it to anyone that I know to play this game, and I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Uh, this is the continuance of BioShock the Collection. Please like, share, subscribe. If you happen to miss the BioShock 1 version that I did, I will put it here at the top of the screen. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, I will catch you guys next time. See you later.